Hi, my name is Erickson Watkins, and today I'm here to talk to you about the business and financial reasons of why local police officers are leaving law enforcement for other careers. The title of my presentation is Leaving Law Enforcement, a Business Decision. The problem at hand is that many local police officers are leaving law enforcement for other careers for financial or business reasons. Local agencies are struggling to retain the current officers that they have, and local agencies are struggling to recruit new officers. Why local police officers are pursuing new careers? There's quite a few reasons, but the big reasons are they're underpaid. A lot of careers you can go into, you can make similar pay to law enforcement with little to no experience. So a lot of people aren't applying to law enforcement because they know they can go somewhere else, have an easier job, and make similar or maybe more money. Local police officers are definitely overworked, working obviously your main job as a police officer, but then side jobs, security details, or even part-time jobs. You're going to work a lot more than 40 hours a week on average. Another issue is not enough benefits, including health insurance, vacation, and sick leave. Health insurance is gone up pretty much everywhere, but in law enforcement, especially on the local level, it's always been something that's been an issue. And then vacation and sick leave. I know personally my vacation and sick leave accrues very slowly. I get maybe 7 days of vacation time a year, and that's just not a lot. I mean, I miss a family vacation all the time, so that's a big issue for me personally. And then time away from family and loved ones, that's another thing that I can relate to on a personal level. I've missed events for my daughter and family functions and holidays and stuff because you are going to work weekends, you're going to work holidays, you're going to work all the days that people working a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job, they're going to have off. Well, police officers, you don't get that opportunity because it is a 24/7 job. So a lot of times you're going to be working weekends, you're going to be working holidays, you're going to be working when your family's off, and that's a big issue. The Financial Burden of Law Enforcement Survey is a survey I completed with 5 of my current coworkers. The questions that I asked them are, the first question is agree or disagree that local law enforcement are underpaid. The second question is agree or disagree that local law enforcement officers are forced to work overtime or side jobs to supplement income. And then the final question I asked is agree or disagree that the current pay scale is a financial burden for local law enforcement officers. When I spoke to my coworkers that I surveyed, 100% agreed that local law enforcement are underpaid. 80% agreed that local law enforcement are forced to work overtime or side jobs to supplement their income. I know from just speaking with a lot of the guys that I work with and knowing them, the majority of them do work at least one or more side job or security detail or something to supplement their income. And then 80% agreed that the current pay scale for local law enforcement is a financial burden. A lot of the guys that I work with are married, so they have that secondary income. I'm not, so I have a single income, and I can say that it is difficult. I mean, I don't have to have the side jobs that I work. I could make it without it, but it would be a lot more difficult, so it would be a burden. But those side jobs and part-time jobs do help significantly. Troubles facing local law enforcement agencies, retention problems. They're having a big issue retaining the current officers that they have because of the possibility of going to a new career where you're not going to miss holidays, you're not going to miss weekends, you're going to make some more money. So they're having an issue retaining those officers. And then of course they're having a problem recruiting new officers for similar reasons. But then also the budgetary issues, pay, benefits, and hours and schedule. A lot of departments don't have the budget to hire new officers. They just don't have the revenue coming in from taxes to pay for more positions, and then they're just not getting the applicants because of the pay, benefits, hours, and schedule. So it's a big issue that they're facing is recruiting officers. And then in conclusion, local police officers are leaving law enforcement is an ongoing issue that is only getting worse for local agencies. That's very true. We've lost more recently than we have in the past for those exact reasons. And then recruitment for local police officers is extremely low nationwide. My agency had a vacancy for our squad a few months ago, And I know that normally they have 5 or 6 people apply. Well, this time they only had 1, so your selection pool is a lot smaller. You're not getting as many qualified applicants. You're not getting that chance to really comb through different candidates' resumes and really pick the best person. Local police officers can make comparable salaries at new careers while working better hours and less hours. That's very true. I mean, a lot of entry-level jobs you're going to be making similar or more pay than law enforcement, and you're going to work better hours, probably have better benefits. I know working at like Purdue or Tyson or any of those factories, you're going to make a starting pay that's similar to law enforcement, and you're going to have a little bit better hours, and the job isn't going to be as strenuous on your body. And then many officers are pursuing further education to improve chances of achieving new careers. I can speak to that. I have made the decision eventually to leave law enforcement, so I'm pursuing my education to help once I graduate. I'll have more opportunities with a degree than I would without, so that's something that I'm dealing with right now. And then other problems facing local law enforcement agencies in Georgia. State leaders are torn between support for local law enforcement by giving raises and then fear of setting a new precedent that would anger the residents of Georgia. A lot of sheriffs are pleading for the state to pay for these raises, and the state does support that, but of course taxes would have to be raised, and it doesn't matter what taxes are being raised for. Nobody wants their taxes raised, so that's an issue they're dealing with. And the statewide average for starting pay for a sheriff's deputy in the state of Georgia is around $29,000 annually. That's one of the lowest nationwide. That's a big issue in Georgia is the low pay scale of law enforcement. So you're just not getting those people applying because they know they're not going to make any money. I mean, there's just no money to be made, especially in the smaller rural counties in Georgia. And then several Georgia counties pay is well below $25,000 annually. A lot of these small agencies that have 10 to 15 officers, they're not going to be able to pay more than $25,000. Obviously, they're not going to have as big of a selection of candidates, but they're just not going to be able to pay them either. And then the average starting pay for a jailer in the state of Georgia is $25,300 annually. A lot of sheriff's offices in Georgia, you're going to have to start out in the jail working in a minimum of 2 years. So that's 2 years of making $25,000 a year. I know that I can't live off of that, and I wouldn't expect anyone else to have to do so either. What departments can do to recruit new officers? Obviously, they can raise the pay, they can increase benefits such as health insurance, vacation time, and sick leave, and they can allow officers to work better hours. And they can also require outside employers to pay more hourly, such as the side job employers that hire us. They're set to a minimum amount that they have to pay us, but that needs to be raised as well. And then what local officers can do to achieve new careers: pursue further education, pursue further training, and pursue those further certifications. The training and certifications are something that your department will most likely put you through. They have to put you through 20 hours a year, so try to use at least that 20 hours to take a class or two that's going to look good on your resume, that's going to help you out in the future. And then, of course, pursue an education, furthering that if you haven't already. That's something I'm doing, and it's something a lot of my coworkers are doing as well, because it's definitely going to help on your resume when you actually make that jump to get out of law enforcement. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you've enjoyed.